donkey narration. So, let's try that again. There once was a donkey who, for many long years, carried the corn sacks back and forth to the mill without tiring. But at last, his strength was going, and he was not going to be able to work much longer. He knew that his master would soon get rid of him, so before that could happen, he ran away and took the road to Bremen. Well, I may not be good for anything, he thought, but at least in the city I could be a musician. Maybe I will play the lute. After he had walked some distance, he met an old hound. He met an old hound lying by the road and gasping as if he had run a long way. Well, what are you out of breath for, old fellow? Asked the donkey. Oh, replied the hound, because I am old and cannot hunt anymore. My master wanted to kill me, so I ran away, but how can I earn enough to eat now? Listen, said the donkey, I am going to Bremen and shall be a musician there. Come with me, and you can be a musician too. I believe you would make a fine drummer. The hound agreed, so the two walked on together. Before long, they came to a cat sitting on the path. Before long, they came to a cat sitting on the path Before long, they came to a cat sitting on the path with a face as sad as 3 rainy days. Much better. Well, hello there, old Whiskers. Why the sad face? Asked the donkey. Well, who can be jolly when his life is in danger? Answered the cat. I am getting old. My teeth are worn to stumps. I'd rather sit by the fire than hunt mice. So my mistress wanted to drown me, so I ran away. But now I don't know what to do. Where am I to go? Well, we are going to be musicians in Bremen, and we'll need music to play, said the donkey. Everyone knows that a cat can see in the dark, and everyone knows that composers work at night. So you can stay up all night and be our composer. The cat thought that made sense, so now all three walked on together. Well, after this, they came to a farm, and, sitting on the gate, crowing at the top of his lungs, was a rooster. Your crowing goes right through my bones, said the donkey. Why all the commotion? Well, fine guests are coming tomorrow, and the lady of the house wants the chef to make a soup with me as the main ingredient, said the rooster. So I'm crowing as loudly as I can while I can. Well, the donkey said, well, come with us to Bremen. You have a fine voice. Being a singer there has to be better than being a bowl of chicken soup here. The rooster agreed, so now all four traveled on together. could not reach Bremen in one day. So in the evening, when they came to a forest, they wondered where they might sleep. As they walked, they spied a light deep in the woods. They thought that if it were a house, it would be better to sleep there than in the forest. They were also getting hungry and could use something to eat. So they made their way toward the light, and sure enough, it was a house. They crept to the window and peeked in. Inside were bags filled with treasure and fierce-looking men sitting around a table that was covered with wonderful things to eat and drink. "Oh, how I wish we were in there," said the donkey. "Food," said the hound. "Drink," said the cat. And the rooster said, "That's what we could use. That's what we could use. That's what we could use." So they put their heads together to think how they might drive the robbers away. And at last, they came up with a plan. The donkey would place his front feet on the windowsill. The hound would jump on his back. The cat would leap on his back. And finally, the rooster would fly up and perch on the cat's head. When they were ready, they began to make their music. The donkey brayed, the hound barked, the cat meowed, and the rooster crowed. Then they burst through the window and into the room, scattering glass everywhere. At all these horrible noises, the robbers sprang up, thinking that the souls of the dead were shrieking for them, and they fled into the forest as fast as their legs could carry them. The four musicians now sat down at the table and feasted to their heart's content. When they had finished, they put out the light and each sought out the perfect place to sleep. The donkey laid himself down on some straw in the yard. The hound stretched out by the back door. We get it. And the cat curled up on the hearth in front of the fireplace. And the rooster perched on the peak of the roof. And being very tired, they all soon fell asleep. But after a while, the robbers saw from far off that the light was no longer on in the house, and that all seemed peaceful. The chief of the gang said, "Why do we let ourselves be scared silly?" and ordered one of the robbers to go back and look the house over. He tiptoed to the house and listened at the door. All was quiet. He then went in to light a candle, which woke the cat, who opened his eyes. Thinking that the cat's eyes were live coals in the fireplace, the robber stuck a match in them to light it. Well, the cat did not think that was at all funny and flew in his face, scratching with all his might. The robber was dreadfully frightened and ran to the back door. but tripped on the hound, who sprang up and bit his leg. He then ran across the yard, surprising the donkey by the straw heap, who gave him a sharp kick with his big hind foot. The rooster awakened from all the noise, roused himself, and cried from the roof, "Cock-a-doodle-doo! Cock-a-doodle-doo!" So the robber stumbled and ran as fast as he could back to his chief. And said, "There's this horrible witch in the house, and she spat on me and scratched my face with her long, sharp fingers. And then there's this man by the door with a knife, and he stabbed me in the leg. And in the yard is this huge monster who pummeled me with his wooden club. And all the while, up on the roof, sits the judge who cried out, 'Throw the cook in jail! Throw the cook in jail!' I barely escaped with my life." And from that time on, the robbers never went near the house again. As for the four musicians, well, they found it so agreeable that they decided to stay. And if you happen by that part of the woods, you'll hear a house filled with music. They never did make it to Bremen.